Hello, everyone. My name is Ava Korcek, and this is my Rogerian argument paper presentation on stop and frisk, preventing racially targeted attacks. Stop and frisk, a policing tactic used on the streets, is most commonly known for its use by the New York City Police Department and former Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Police stop people who exhibit suspicious activity. Examples of this include constantly reaching into pockets, touching other items of clothing, or standing outside a location for an extended period of time. Officers are searching individuals for guns or other illegal substances. Decisions in the field are based on an officer's discretion. Stop and frisk promotes police presence in the community and allows officers to use more aggressive behavior to combat crime and prevent the community from possible harm. Used as a method for crime prevention, it has the goal to stop crime before it starts. Crime rates in areas with this tactic have declined. It is very effective when used properly. Stop and frisk is a tactic that police can use without obtaining a search warrant. Based on the idea that fear will keep people from wanting to commit a crime, this is a form of public shaming. Stop and frisk is effective because it is a form of public shaming. When officers stop people, it is always done in a public setting. People live in fear of law enforcement because they don't want to be subject to this humiliation. This can greatly impact the mental health of a community, and research has shown that it has led to higher suicide rates and PTSD. Police often physically touch a person to feel for weapons. In some instances, this can cross a boundary and become non-consensual physical contact. People don't feel the need to change this because it is effective. Statistics on stop and frisk show a one-to-one correspondence between areas with higher violent crime rates and the use of stop and frisk. 90% of victims are released after a short examination, showing that not all stop and frisk incidents lead to an arrest. Between 2011 and 2012, there was between a 1 and 10% chance of finding a weapon. This statistic came from the more than 300,000 stops that were completed that year. One of the judges that presided over the George Floyd case stated that 410 people were stopped at least 10 times each within 5 years, as well as a Black man that was stopped 30 times in less than 4 years. Only 7% of the people stopped yearly are white. If we examine the United States Constitution, our Fourth Amendment right protects us from unreasonable search and seizures. Officers must obtain a warrant first. Exemptions such as probable cause may be used by law enforcement. Stop and frisk is protected by the Constitution because it contains probable cause. This is because officers must have a valid reason to stop a person because they fear the community or themselves are in immediate danger and they do not have time to obtain a warrant from a judge. If a stop does not contain probable cause, then it is violating our Fourth Amendment rights. Racially targeted police brutality affects communities of color. Communities with higher racial and ethnic minority groups face these stops more frequently. Targeted at young Hispanic and Black males under the age of 30, officers will often use harsher actions such as physical beating or violent language. Structural racism reinforces the aggressive behavior towards people of color. Police brutality targeted on people of color can cause mistrust in the community. Officers can use aggressive field interrogations when using this tactic. Stop and frisk promotes unnecessary brutality, and there are no strong regulations to prevent this. Stop and frisk is not always associated with police brutality, depending on the context of a specific situation. However, it contributes to the conversation on this topic. Building a relationship of trust in a community is an important step to finding a middle ground. Mistrust can develop between people of color and the police. When people of color are continuously targeted, they will not feel safe in their own communities. To repair a relationship founded on trust, police and people of color, law enforcement needs to prove that they will protect and not harm. We can develop stricter guidelines surrounding this tactic to prevent racially targeted attacks. Working together as a society is the only way we can change how society views racism and policing. Keeping an open mind to new tactics is an important step. Racism is a social dilemma that is deeply rooted in the foundations of our society, and we must recognize that to be able to move forward together. Using stop and frisk purposefully is a middle ground to this argument. We don't need to stop using this tactic entirely, simply modify how we use it. Better rules and regulations can be developed to set boundaries for police officers. Providing education for police officers and communities is an important step. If we work with the information we have on crime trends, we can develop methods for crime prevention that are sensitive to all racial and ethnic minorities. To conclude my argument, this is a complex social issue that is relevant in society and the media today. It affects many aspects of a community, including individuals, families, cultures, and even police. We need to change our perspectives as a community to combat racism. It is important to bring awareness to this issue to protect our society from racist ideologies. I've included a reference page for the citations within my presentation and for the images that I used. Thank you so much.